social universe, and in many cases the secrets of the universe itself. We did not mention one of our sponsors in our previous segment, so we've got to make sure we mention Crescendo. Crescendo is rated in the top 10 in the world, but located here in Arizona for web design and SEO, and they do a wonderful job providing analysis of sites. They will provide a free analysis for anybody who gives them a call if they go to the website at www.crescendo.com, and we want to thank them for sponsoring our show and occasionally providing phone systems for our guests. We also wanted to welcome again Pamela Young from the Young Agency, so welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
You're very welcome. And Crystal, I'm again going to have you take over and talk a little bit about from a young person aspiring to become a model. How does someone go from that vision? Obviously, Pamela went from the vision of being a young woman, being a model, and then to creating an agency. But to a young woman who wants to get involved and know a little bit about Pamela, I'm going to turn the time over to Crystal to help us learn a little bit more about Pamela herself.
Okay, I'm just really interested as far as how all this came about. I mean, I know initially it began during childhood. And so tell us about your childhood and your upbringing.
Okay, well, I am a preacher's daughter, and my father served in the United States Air Force, so we traveled quite a bit, and I was the new kid every year. So that set me up to be very shy and very quiet. And but I learned how to reinvent myself, because every time we moved, I could leave the past behind, and what didn't work, then I could bring something forward that was positive or a change. And so my father retired in Phoenix, Arizona, and I always tease him, he left us in the desert. But as a preacher's daughter, and my mother being a preacher's wife, it was very strict in our home. And so one of the things was that dating was very limited, and so we were married early. And so I was about to be married at age 18, and the story goes, my husband said, "You're really kind of cute, but you're such a tomboy. Do you want to try that modeling thing?" And so there were 2 modeling schools in Phoenix, Arizona back then, and I enrolled and just absolutely fell in love with modeling, and my self-esteem soared behind it, and it was just a great place for me.
That's amazing. So as far as being raised, and where do your inspirations come from?
Well, I always say I have a rich dad, poor dad. My mom was always stay in school, get an 8 to 5, and my dad was a dreamer, and I'm a dreamer. And so just driven by my family. We're very close. My older sister worked with me for 10 years, and my brother is a corporate attorney on the East Coast, and so those are her 3 children, and they all are very successful.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's great. I do know that for example, I have 2 sons that are very, very good looking. Obviously, we blame that on my wife, but we actually were very good friends with some Hollywood models, and probably the only real fight I ever got into with them was that I didn't want my sons to model, and they were blonde, blue-eyed, and when you're younger, he even had a little gap in his tooth that was just normally would be but it was endearing and made him so cute, and he was very energetic, and they're like, don't you understand that an energetic child, a lot of energy, that's what they want, as opposed, then they can just take a lot of pictures, as opposed to trying to get a child to just sit there all the time. That's not what they were looking for. But I said, well, you know what, I don't want them to model. I was being conservative as a parent. So if I had known there was someone who had grown up as a preacher's daughter who owned an agency, I would probably feel very comfortable. So again, if there are any parents out there that are wondering, should we take that leap, and we have a couple of energetic, fun, beautiful children that may be worthwhile. It may be worthwhile for them to reach out, because it's a great way. It's both humbling, and modeling not only is humbling, but at the same time gives a great sense of accomplishment and self-esteem at the same time. So it's some honing.
Yes.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and I'm really pleased to be in the industry now, but yeah, I had some times when I wondered, okay, is this my calling? Is this what I'm supposed to do? And, we watch out for our kids in the regard that now we are branching out into Los Angeles and New York.
Great.
And I meet out there every January in LA. For a week we meet with about 200 agents, and we're there during pilot season for the entire week.
Amazing.
And
now I want to emphasize that you want to work. There are so many agencies that come in and say, "Hey, I'm an agent," but do they actually have the ability to place that? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And although we have captured the local market, if you will, that is part of why we're branching out now, and for the last few years, into the Los Angeles market. And what I do there is go and make friends.
Sure.
And so basically, while I'm networking, it gives me a chance to meet someone. For example, I have a good friend named Sandy who has worked the European market for 30 years.
Wow.
So at one time I would never consider sending a teenager out there, with all the fears of a passport being taken or what have you. Now I have a very, very good friend who I trust enough to stay at her place when I'm visiting, when I'm traveling, and she can come in, look at my models, talk with their parents, let them know her contacts, and these children, these teenagers, can go over to the European market and work the summer and make anywhere from 30, 50,000, build their book and learn go-sees and work the summer and experience the modeling industry.
Amazing. Now, what's not to like about that? All expense paid. Way better than that. Not only is it you get paid to
Yes.
go. So that's absolutely amazing.